For heaven's sake, Catie Wood is no joke. Really astounded everyone. Tom Lee is bringing joy to others. Additionally, the cryptocurrency market is somewhat retreating this morning. What's causing that? How can we proceed? What can we discover? We'll go discuss it. Additionally, JP Morgan abruptly flips its switch, shifting from the dark to the light, switching sides. We will also discuss that. We'll discuss a fascinating story regarding XRPs that will alter the company's future. You'll understand why this particular tweet was sent. We will also discuss that. All I ask is that you smile at me so that I can radiate those positive feelings. Smash the like button smishity. Legs are worth double on Tuesday. Don't you remember? So make use of that. Worth double, but still free. Well, let's get started. XRP is currently down 2.5% for the day at $3.45, but as you can see, I'm not sure if you can see it on the timeline. After several days of really strong green movements for the cryptocurrency market, we're seeing a lot of red today. The day finally arrived when we experienced a slight sell-off and a slight pullback. In fact, it began last night and continued into this morning. And it is, in my opinion, a small amount of profit-taking which is common. As we've discussed previously, even though XRP surged in November and December, you won't see a straight line. After a run-up, we had a consolidation for 4 or 5 days. Another surge, followed by a consolidation period of 4 or 5 days, and another breakout, correct? Therefore, there is always a chance that you will experience consolidation when you have a run-up. At the same time, Bitcoin has essentially been stalled for the past week and a half. All right. I believe that aka BlackRock is repressing at this 118,000 level, which may indicate a lot of manipulation taking place behind the scenes. Perhaps it's keeping the price down, so it doesn't go too crazy. Why? For if it gets too wild, people start to think, oh, it's gone up so much. I have no desire to invest in it. If, however, it's just a matter of, oh, well, there's still time, you can still get in, you can still that, then the likelihood of new business is higher. If individuals are rushing, running, and pulling money out of their 401k, era, and other accounts and purchasing EBIT, I don't think they're thinking, oh, I'm going to miss out. That's just me. I'm not sure. Perhaps I'm mistaken, but that's the reason I believe we've seen this happen several times. We reach a particular point, and then it becomes stuck. They don't want it to run up too quickly, which is why I believe that. I don't know, perhaps. I might be too naive about that. As always, I will never advise you to purchase, sell, or hold. You decide that. Not financial advice, of course. Always conduct your own research before making an investment. I have no idea what the market will do or how it will unfold, but I personally cut back on my exposure during the past day in anticipation of the Fed chairman's speech today. Furthermore, it is 8:30 a.m. That's early, I see. The market is essentially like Big Brother to him, isn't it? In the sense that the president, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and the Secretary of Commerce are arguing with one another and condemning the Fed for the $2.50 billion refurbishment of the Fed buildings. They are also telling him to resign and to retire. You know, it's like drama. It has been transformed into a reality program. Thus, it's causing a situation where people are somewhat worried about that once more. They have no idea what the Fed will do. Will he abruptly declare his retirement? Thus, a small amount of risk is being eliminated. Thus, the reason for today's pullback is that it's typical. Additionally, if assets have increased significantly, they can now decline significantly. All right. Big pullbacks are always possible for those who can run up big. All right. And that is something you need to think about. Right now, a slight decline is healthy for those who are genuinely searching for XRP on the daily chart. Why? You may view it here. For a time, XRP remains stalled at the top of the stochastic RSI on the daily. It can now survive for a while above 70, but it always descends. In fact, Bitcoin has already managed to retreat a little further. Therefore, there is a chance of a switcheroo if we reach the bottom. Although you can see that it takes time, XRP always reaches the bottom, even if that isn't necessary. Once more, we don't know where, when, or how, but it will finally reach the bottom. How, you ask? All right. If it descends again, rises, descends again, and reaches the bottom. It's okay if it's at the bottom if we're up, if we're at $5. Because it pulled down to 5 after maybe reaching 7. All right, correct. Naturally, we won't be pleased if it hits 7 and then drops to 5, but at least it's better than 3.4, isn't it? Therefore, it all depends on where you are in the timeline. Additionally, some of the people who purchased it will likely buy it again, right? Though I'm not sure if we will reach those levels again. I hope that we do. However, there will always be those who cry, those who buy too high, those who buy too low, those who bought it at 1.6 and those who bought it at 50 cents, and those who bought it years ago at a few cents. So there will always be questions about who bought what, where, how, and why. So crucial to keep in mind. It's also crucial to keep in mind that I will never message you on social media to ask you to send me money or join up for anything. They are con artists. Be extremely cautious out there, please. I wanted to show you this, so let's do that next. On Google, altcoins are once again gaining popularity. When someone enters the market and hears the word, they ask themselves, what are altcoins? What does that signify? What is it then? For those who are unaware, altcoins are everything that isn't Bitcoin. Bitcoin comes first, followed by altcoins. That includes XRP, Ethereum, and everything else. Altcoins are anything that isn't Bitcoin. That's why people are looking for it. Because someone who is not new to the market should understand what altcoins are, it indicates that retail may be coming out, or that it is new. However, someone who is clean, fresh, and new generally doesn't understand what it implies. This is what Tom Lee, who is an interesting Lee, said on CNBC yesterday morning. Since Bitcoin would still only be worth 25% of the size of the gold market, I believe the $200, $250,000 price range for it still makes sense. Digital gold, in my opinion, implies that Bitcoin should be worth more than $1 million per, and that might happen in the next years. However, it might make sense to price 25% of that, especially in light of the Genius Act. Will you? Here we are essentially on day 120. Sure, many people would be really thrilled if Bitcoin reached $250,000 by the end of the year. In the past, Tom has publicly shared his predictions, and while he has received criticism, he has consistently been correct on numerous occasions. We now know that Tom switched to Ethereum, correct? And Catie would just dump big stocks to buy Tom Lee. Isn't that right? In order to purchase 4.4 million shares of Tom Lee's Ethereum Treasury Enterprise, ARK ETF recently sold over 148 million in cryptocurrency and Roblox shares, and Catie would dump significant equities. This is the first mine purchase following the change in Ethereum strategy. Thus, Tom Lee is being invested in by Catie Lee. Catie Wood, said Catie Lee. Isn't Catie Lee someone else? I believe she's on television, morning program, or anything like. Is Catie Wood making an investment in Tom Lee? As a result, Catie Wood is currently heavily investing in Ethereum. Ethereum, is also retracing 3.2 today after hitting the resistance. In fact, it was retracing yesterday night around 3,800. Does this imply that Ethereum is back again? No, it simply indicates that a lot of traders and investors are de-risking a little bit today in preparation for the Fed's announcement. Apart from that, nothing significant is going on today that can trigger the sell-off. All right, so that's the sole explanation for why I think the market is currently retreating. Perhaps it's something else. If I've missed something, please let me know in the comments area. I'll accept the assistance. You should watch the videos if you know you have a following of 30,000 or 40,000 viewers. Not every